So um, this time 1 year ago, excuse me, I had proclaimed 2022 as the year of redemption. And in a nutshell, that divine dispensation has two primary aspects. And the first aspect is a reclaiming of the potential and the possibility, the opening and availability of individuals to reclaim a part of themselves, whether it's your personality, your lifestyle, your way of being, a quality about you that had either been lost by you or shut down or broken or abandoned or just given up on due to traumas and tragedies and despair in life. And the opportunity for you to see that and say, no, I'm restoring this and bringing this back. I am redeeming this and bringing it back into my life. Like I just spent the last hour with our group here of close to 50 people reviewing the year. And one individual had shared how she had found that this was the year she, for the first time in her life, after almost 50 years, had reclaimed the innocence and freedom she had as a little child. And it may sound like a simple statement, but that is profound beyond belief, to have lived more than 4 decades without that, the stifling and just that dullness that happens and pervades all of life, when that joy and spark and innocence and wonder and fascination that all little children, infants and toddlers have, until the parents, the family, the world, society, negativity, trauma, tragedies, wounds, shut it down and just seal it away, hermetically seal it. And we go through life the way we do. So to reclaim that in this year is really profound. And so that's the first aspect of redemption, reclaiming and redeeming some part of you that, as I just, in the ways I described, lost, broken, shut down, abandoned. The other aspect, it's an and or, because it could be both. The other aspect of redemption is claiming, not a reclaiming, but a claiming and redeeming, bringing to the surface something that has lain dormant within you, or has been, just completely inactive and never part of you, that might have been known to you or might have never been known by you all your life. And to have that either spontaneously birth and awaken in you, and then you go forth and claim it and bring it into your life, or something that was known, but you just never did anything about it. Someone who always knew he or she was an artist or a singer, or someone who always knew you were meant to be doing a certain something or being a certain someone, and just never did anything about it, and said, now this year there's this huge divine energy and sourcing from the divine of all the angels and heavenly hosts and celestial beings and all the earth energies forwarding this and empowering this to happen. And this is the power and the beauty of these divine dispensations, which exist for all time, but in a given year, the universal and cosmic focus is on this, and is blessing, empowering, and assisting you to do this, to achieve something in that particular arena like never before. And by so doing, aligning yourself with that dispensation, it makes it easier, more graceful, bigger, and faster than you could do at any other time. It doesn't mean you can't do any of these things at any time. You can, but there's a special blessing, an alchemical, empowering, graceful blessing to do it in that year in alignment with that dispensation. And so people in the room were sharing, I had two people in the room shared how in one of them, a whole healing practice was birthed in her this year. Another one shared how a new aspect of a healing practice came in, this awakening of a physical healing in the hands and ability that was coming forward. And two people shared about that it just came up this year. I was like, oh my gosh. And other people had commented and seen it and felt the energy. Another individual had a huge healing of having grown up, in a home with an alcoholic parent, And most people have an experience of that directly or indirectly, either with a partner, a parent, a family member, a friend. And the volatility that comes with that, the violence, that the heartache, the trauma, the peaks and troughs. And as many people know, children who grow up in a household with that there, whether it's alcohol or another drug addiction, often grow up in life and magnetize the very same, either become it themselves or magnetize it in partners, life partners, and in their environment. And an individual, again, who's here at this retreat, had an experience this year of, yes, having a childhood with an alcoholic, an abusive parent, and volatile, and then having had the life journey of magnetizing alcoholic partners, and had the cord cut this year in the year of redemption through a profound, first of all, a painful and powerful and heart-wrenching breakup with a partner of 2.5 years. They were living together and in love and all of that. And then something just came up inside this one, and it was a knowingness, like an isness of being. It wasn't a thought or a choosing or I want or a wanting. It was an isness that I'm done. And the relationship ended. And then we worked together, over a course of time, weeks and a couple months. And when this individual came to me and said, I said to her that I said, this is the real deal. And she just looks at me and says, what do you mean? And I said, this is the final one. This is like the back of the beast is broken. The cycle, the curse, ding dong, the witch is dead. It's over. And I looked at her and I said, you will never have an alcoholic or an addictive partner again. And she burst into tears. And I watched it ripple through her being. It wasn't because I said it, it's because she knew it was real. And she said, yeah, I feel it. It's gone. I will never. And I said, the test here and the key is not to judge other people for their addictions or any shortcomings or problems, but just be in the knowingness that you've moved to a new level of self-love and reclaimed that part of yourself, that you are no longer dictated by this, affected by it, or under its spell. It's over. And the freedom that came, and then all kinds of other blessings rippled through her life in the same year. Really, really wondrous. So it's been wonderful this last hour. I mean, as it has been all year, helping people achieve this and realize this and fulfill this in their lives in so many, many ways. And it's been a joy for the last hour to hear people at the end of this year now. We just tacked on a few in the last hour of the many people who were here. The joy and the celebration of seeing how that played out in their lives. So, excuse me, that was the year of 2022, the year of redemption. And so as I do each year, I'm turning my head to watch the time here because we have our countdown to midnight too. So timing this, since this is a live broadcast. So each year I look at, I like to make the next dispensation stand on the shoulders of the one prior. I like it to dovetail and weave into it if possible. I mean, sometimes something very clearly will reveal itself to me that needs to be. And this year was no exception. So I also look at the state of the world, state of human consciousness, of humanity's, burgeoning divinity and spiritual awakening, and what's going on in the planet on so many world fronts. And so taking a quick temperature check of the planet right now, and again, keeping in mind the year of redemption, looking at how wide the polarity is getting wider and wider and wider, which is the exact inverse and contrary to what most spiritual teachings say, that we're all coming together into the oneness, and it's the exact opposite. Polarity is getting wider and wider because so many people still choose to live in opposition, in exile from God, in opposition to God's will, in defiance of God's will, and just in a selfishness, self-gratifying, sense-gratifying way. And that makes the polarity Surrender brings it all together, but that fight and the willfulness and the defiance makes the polarity wider. And so we see that playing out in the world. Granted, the spiritual awakening is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, more and more transfer of power to people who are, committed to God and to the light and to goodness and wanting to heal and help others. And yet we also see, because the universe is always in perfect balance at every time, the irony is, by the way, caveat, that both approaches come to the same outcome. The end game is the same, whether it's through surrender coming into oneness or through defiance and willfulness, making the polarity wider, which causes greater pain and suffering, which is the route that, again, the majority, not everyone, but the majority of the world is living in that experience and having greater and greater pain and suffering and tragedy. And the global climate, situation with storms and weather and calamities are also following suit. Politics, you look like in this country, the polarity in the two parties that just live in opposition to each other. It's not even, I know for the last several years, and getting progressively worse every year, the issues don't even matter anymore. They solely exist just to fight and oppose each other. It doesn't even matter what's on the table. I will go against it just because I'm against you, and I will go against it, and you're wrong, and you're wrong, and you're wrong. And what's being discussed is completely and wholly irrelevant. It's all about the fight. And it gets bigger and bigger. And then it gets into mudslinging and slandering and libel and trying to destroy each other's character and name and reputation. It's horrible. And people getting attacked and mugged, and politicians getting stabbed in their house now, and their houses bombed, and they're just trying to serve the public. Like, what is your position if you're living in service? Why should people be attacked and killed for that? So you see the madness is getting worse and worse and worse. And on the other side of that polarity, also in the same field, the corruption is reaching unprecedented heights, the greed, the selfishness. And again, I started by saying, there's always perfect balance, but the polarity is getting wider. So I'm looking for the perfect dispensation, the perfect blessing that can help transmute some of that and bring things more together and mitigate some of these extremes that are causing so much pain and suffering in the world. And stand on the shoulders with and dovetail the year of redemption, where people have now reclaimed parts of their true divine selves and have now realized them, and now are beginning to implement them in their lives and reinvent and recreate themselves. And because the world lives in ebb and flow, yin and yang, in that, give and take, there could be no more fitting thing for these tremendous blessings that those who, grabbed the tail of that comet I presented a year ago and had the fruits of it this year. And again, people were sharing it here with so much ebullience and joy of watching their lives transform by trusting and acting on faith in these ways. So putting all of this together, the most perfect combination of it evolved within me to proclaim this year, beginning in 15 minutes of 2023, to be the year of giving. And so it's a way for people who've reclaimed these beautiful parts of themselves that were broken or dormant or never there. And now they're feeling the fruits of them. And it's about reciprocity, about giving back. Also, what is more powerful to transmute rather than fight, which is what many people choose? What is more powerful to transmute selfishness, greed, and corruption than giving and serving and generosity? That's the cure for it. And not only for others, but for oneself, for people who still, and again, it's kind of ironic that the people who live in the shadow side of this are the only ones who don't recognize it. But people who are living in selfishness or greed or corruption or dishonesty or deception, and again, the greatest self-deception is to not recognize or know that you're living those ways. So imbued and in this blessing and dispensation is a clarion call and a heartfelt invitation for people to raise the bar in their lives of personal accountability and personal honesty, to get more honest with yourselves in assessing where you are in that spectrum of selfishness to selflessness. Get more honest about that, not in a self-judging or self-condemning way, but in a wholly honest and loving way, an empowering way. So you can say, okay, I do finally admit that, I don't give back. I take more than I give from the universe. And that creates poverty. That creates suffering. You want to create a positive balance. And this is the opportunity like never before. There is so much divine energy coming into this, so much angelic help and support from all the kingdoms upon and within the earth. So I beseech all of you, again, if not publicly, then in the private, quiet, and still of your night, begin to make that change within yourself. If you're already giving, this is the year to give more, raise the bar. Some people are already living very wholesome and holistic lives, and thinking, oh, this doesn't apply to me. Yeah, it does. It does. If you're already living that, more, take it higher, because you are giving a gift to all of creation, to all the people who are not choosing it, to all the people who are suffering at the hands of those not choosing it. You becoming more giving, more selfless. This is the year to move into service and help other people. So if there are any of you, some of you watching this have never seen me before, might not know me, but one of my core teachings has been for decades now about honoring the law of tithing, which, it fulfills the law of creation. As you sow, so shall you reap tenfold. That's what the world has known, but that's only half of the law. The second half is as you reap, so do you return to source 1/10. And that fulfills the law of creation, which then in turn creates abundance, not only for you. And that's not the reason you're doing it. You're doing it to fulfill the law of creation, to keep the universe in harmony and in wholesomeness and health. But one of the side effects and blessings of it is it does create abundance, not only in the world, but in your life, and not just financial, but that too. Abundance of health, inner peace, prosperity of mind, all kinds of things, relationship, ease, grace, and flow, the physical manifestations of divine consciousness, of peace, love, and joy. And so those are the reasons. So if you're already living that, implore yourself and call yourself to account, to increase wherever that is. If you don't practice tithing, this is the year to do it, to return 1/10 of all the universe gives you to the source, your greatest single source of spiritual nourishment, whether it's your church or your community group or your mentor or your guru or spiritual teacher. Where the source that most feeds your soul is that first point of returning. And that will take an additional blessing, call forth an additional blessing in this year of giving. You will see changes happen in the world, like that power of one. Each person has the power to impact and change the world so much. And most people don't bother, or many people don't bother, because they don't believe that. They don't think so. They're waiting for it or them or the system to change. But there's no one on the planet but you, at the level of the absolute. All 7+ billion people are the 7+ billion reflections and aspects of you. So adopt that. It's all up to me. Again, not from obsession or compulsion, but from the joy. The reward for the joy of serving is the reward for serving. Come from that place. And also with that longing to help. People think, well, how can little old me help? You can. More than you'll ever know. And quite honestly, more than you'll ever see. You cannot see the impact of your loving contributions to the world. You'll see some of it, but you can't even fathom the totality of it. It is so huge and far reaching, and it blesses and empowers and heals and transforms people, situations, institutions, governments all over the world. And by doing this in this year of giving, you will start to see some tremendous changes. Watch in the political field, in the, in climate, in society, in the visible world of social media and Hollywood and celebrities. You'll see it where it becomes most visible. Gives you like a a temperature check. It's not that it only happens there, but the areas and arenas of visibility give all of us as spectators and participants in this beautiful world a point of focus, a barometer to see and measure what's really happening in the collective. So to aid and assist in this, I have summoned from the mineral kingdom, from the crystal kingdom, that of citrine, which I have here in my hand. Citrine is a stone of abundance. And so that will help manifest and create more abundance in your life as you're doing this whole concept of moving into giving or greater giving is an act and a movement into the arena of greater selflessness. And that will bring abundance. And again, you're not doing it for abundance. It just happens to be a blessing that comes with it. So the stone of citrine will help empower that. Dating back millennia to the ancient days of old and the time of Jesus, when he was born, a great blessing upon this world. The wise men came from the Orient, bringing gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So I've summoned those forward. So in the essential oil kingdom, frankincense and myrrh, and also vanilla. I know that doesn't seem to go with gold, frankincense, and myrrh, but vanilla is it's intoxicating and it's sensual and it pleases everybody and it brings joy, and so I'm putting that in as the sweetness in the mix that will just help you feel the joy of that. So treat yourself to some vanilla this year. Incorporate it in your essential oil blends. And thank you. And the color pink for softness and sweetness, mercy and compassion. There are two divine beings who are particularly overlighting this year. And one is Saint Francis of Assisi. And if you have not seen his life story in film, Brother, Sun, Sister, Moon, I believe the movie was made in the 70s. It's one of the most beautiful, heartwarming films I've ever seen. That will capture everything I'm speaking about. So if you haven't seen it, and if you have seen it, see it again with this new lens over your eyes. Put this lens of the year of giving and all I'm describing over your eyes and watch it again. If you haven't seen it, watch it. So he is empowering and overlighting and blessing this year, as is a goddess Lakshmi, the goddess of beauty and abundance and wealth, to help source and feed this with so much, bringing all the best of the world to this. Let's see. We're getting close to our countdown here. So those are the things I'm looking at. If I come up with, and I will come up with more pieces, I can always add them and post them live. But I've given you enough to work with right now. Expect a beautiful year. I strongly implore you and invite you into this alchemical vortex in this year of giving. Give like you've never given before. Learn new ways of being selfless and helping others. Give of your time, give of your money, share your food, roll up your sleeves. And, I always tell my disciples and students and devotees and anyone who comes into my courtyard, I say, one of the great, ways of living that is the embodiment of selflessness is to hold and make your brother and sister's journeys and unfoldments as important as your own. That is the essence of selflessness, to care about others as much as you care about your own life, or maybe model the caring of others to inspire you to learn to care more for yourself. It works both ways. All right, beloveds, we're only about a couple of minutes away from our countdown, so we're going to have a break now. We'll leave excuse me, I have to clear my throat. Cameras rolling as we just set up. We're getting our little toast of our sparkling grape juice here, and we're going to have our countdown. So we'll be back in a moment. wherever you are in the world. I'm Louis, and I send you my love and my blessing, and I invite you into a magical, wonderful year of giving. Let's make some change and some difference in the world. First and foremost, right at home. Can I get my countdown clock, please? Don't drink your toast yet. All right, bring them in. Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, bum. Ba-doo, ba-doo, boo, boo, boo. I'm looking forward to the year of giving. You got it? Where is it? Oh, wow. Under 2 minutes. We're here. Where can I put this so I can see it? Maybe can you stand here with it? I can't crane backwards to see it. I need it higher. There we go. All righty. Just a minute and a half left to the new year. Toast in hand. All right. And again, remember the divas, the nature spirits, there's so much sourcing of the divine wanting this and to happen and helping to make it happen. So all we need is you. And please know and believe deep in your heart, every single person, you do have the power to make change all over the world, regardless of how much you see and know. Just trust and know that the changes you make in your life change the whole world. They really do. Gandhi proved it. Jesus proved it. Moses proved it. That South African movie, Power of One, classic example. All right, we're coming into the home stretch here. I'm about to join in the countdown. Oh, wait a few more seconds. 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! Salud per cent'anni. His blessings for 100 years in Italian. I love you. I bless you. Thank you, everyone. Can I have a clink? You have no glass. Cheers. Wowza. Well, well, folks, we have a tradition that I started many years ago that we're going to do now. So I'll be leaving you. I have everybody in the whole room have an embrace and a hug, heart to heart on the right side. The world hugs in separation to the left. It's another tradition. Hug to the right where your hearts touch. You'll see a world of difference and make a world of difference. So we're going to have our hugs now and our New Year's Eve celebration here up in the mountain jungles of Bali. I wish you the best. I am with you. And let's have an amazing year of giving. Namaste, and I love you. Cheers. All righty.